From disorganized slackers to terrorists. The Occupy movement has seen its media image go from bad to worse over its 9 months of existence. Protesters now even face accusations that they pose a threat not just to corporate America, but to the entire country as a whole. But activists say it's all just scaremongering to stifle the movement, as RT's Marina Portnaya reports.
What began last September returned with a vengeance on the 1st of May. Tens of thousands of Americans across the country expressing collective outrage over wealth inequality, political corruption, and corporate greed. By the evening,
federal agents have busted up an anarchist plot in Cleveland. 5 people are under arrest.
The Occupy movement made headlines for a very different reason.
This group here of so-called anarchists are in custody, accused of wanting to blow up a bridge in Ohio.
The self-proclaimed anarchists wanted to stop money flowing to the 1% and send the federal government a message. They have even ties to Occupy Cleveland as well.
The FBI says the 5 Ohio suspects were intent on using violence to express their ideological views. That allowed some Occupy critics to incriminate the entire movement.
Is Occupy Wall Street, based on the allegations that we have, or that branch, should it be considered a domestic terrorist organization?
The FBI not only foiled the alleged terrorist plot, it also used a government-paid informant to help orchestrate it. That man, identified as Shaquille Aziz, collaborated with the suspects, loaned cash, made introductions, and then
an undercover FBI agent sold these folks, according to the prosecution, C4 explosives.
It's orchestrated, okay? It's all orchestrated. I was involved in this for a long time. I was trained to entrap. I know the game very well.
FBI informant turned whistleblower Craig Monte spent 6 years working for the agency. He says as long as OWS remains a threat to Washington and Wall Street, cases like the Cleveland 5 will become more common.
It taints the Occupy movement, but that's the goal. Now, maybe 3 months later, there'll be another one. Maybe 6 months later, there'll be another one, where now the Occupy movement is really tainted, and no one wants to be around them so much because there may be some type of a terrorist plan or plot.
Before the Cleveland 5 came the Newburgh 4, a terrifying plot the FBI claims to have thwarted.
FBI operatives provided the fake C4 and actually showed them a fake Stinger missile.
The 4 Muslim suspects were arrested and charged with attempting to carry out terrorist attacks.
No direction by a foreign entity or a terrorist group.
Instead, direction came from an FBI informant who monitored, induced, and facilitated the fabricated plot, reportedly paid $100,000 for his services. In America's post-9/11 decade, scores of U.S. Muslim citizens have been arrested and convicted through sting operations involving FBI informants. Today, as the 99% becomes a bigger challenge for Washington, some say angry activists could replace scary Muslims as the so-called new face of homegrown terror.
I think that Occupy Wall Street is dealing with big enough issues, and there are enough people who are committed enough to the movement that it probably will have political prisoners, maybe sooner than later.
Occupy Cleveland issued a statement saying that while the 5 men arrested were associated with the movement, they were in no way representing or acting on behalf of the group. An FBI spokesperson also said the incident was not an Occupy movement plot. Facts which so far have not stopped many from branding Occupy with an unfavorable stain. Marina Portnaya, RT, New York.